Sheriff Chris here, Berkshire Hathaway. Just wanted to appreciate you, first of all, acknowledge you for even listening or taking a look at this. I sent you some documents yesterday. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about them just so that we have an idea of what it is we're looking at. I think the biggest thing is what you're asking for is like, what can I do for you? And actually help you in the process of selling your house. And if I can understand where you're coming from, I think the biggest thing is you want it to be simple. You don't want to take any longer than it needs to take, and then you want to make as much money as possible. So I think I can do that for you, and here's how. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to understand a little bit about what we're looking at when it comes to your specific home. So here it is here. All right. And then here's a previous listing, just to kind of give you an idea of what we're looking at. I mean, you said you bought it after 1 day. Looks like it's on the market 31 days. Your house is currently in the market 32 days. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is, in general, what I want to talk about here, you want to look over here, is I want to talk about what's happening nationally in the area, just so that we have an idea of the ecosystem that we're selling your house in. So first of all, state of Michigan, compared to all the states, we had about a 7% appreciation. The average days on market in Michigan is around 31 to 45, so you're still within that time frame. Percentage of distressed properties, so this is like court-ordered sales, foreclosures, short sales, we're at 2%. So with the 4% is what the normal bank assumes is going to be a foreclosure rate. So looking at significantly less than that, and then changes in sales. So this is separated out by the amount of the purchase of the house. So as you can see, we've had a slight increase in 1 million plus, and then in 700 or 500 to 750, we've had a little bit of an increase. And then as you can see here in this price range here, has gone down. Now, it hasn't gone down because there's lack of demand. It's gone down because there's lack of supply. And I'm going to show you that as we look at your specific home. Why these numbers correlate with the price of your house. And so here's the forecast for the average price. Looks like they're anticipating, and this is coming from CoreLogic, that we're going to have a 7% increase in sales price over the next year. Now, this also includes new construction. So, you know, if we're going to be averaging it out, we can't just look at existing homes. So we're also looking at new construction, which typically sell for significantly more than what the used home would sell for. So, and then we got seller traffic, as we can see, weak. Okay, so as in other words, it's a seller's market right now. So there's not a lot of seller movement down here. There's a lot of seller movement, a lot of selling movement here, and we got foot traffic. So a lot of people like to say, hey, I don't want to list my house in the winter because, well, it doesn't really sell in the winter. Well, here's the amount of buyers that are moving through properties right now. There are, as you can see, it's relatively similar. It hasn't changed much. There's not much fluctuation here. So the amount of people that I'm going to be going through your property are going to be relatively similar to as it is January, February, March, April, June, July. Like they're all going to, at the end of the day, very close. But what does change is supply. So if supply goes down in the winter, which is pretty typical, demand stays high, traffic stays high, you just have a higher probability of selling your house. So let's talk specifically about your area. So we're going to talk about the Portage, North Portage area here. And we're looking at, I'll just verify it's north. Yeah, 19,000. Okay, North Portage. So this is called the absorption rate. I don't know if I can't draw on the screen, but I'll make it bigger. So if I had one piece of data, this would be the piece of data that would tell me a significant amount of what I need to know about selling your house. And one is, is there even any home selling within your price point? And you already know that there is, but we take between 200 and 300,000. We take a look at the amount of sales, or the amount of actives, the amount of sales, and then we basically do an algorithm, the amount of inventory, what's the average likelihood of the house selling. So about 0.7 of a month is the average likelihood of your home selling. So they do this same sort of ratio when they try to figure out how much groceries to stock. Like grocery stores will do this, like how much food should we have? Well, they try to figure out they try to meet the demand. okay? And so if we have an idea, we can get a pretty good idea of how long it should take for your home to sell. So at this point, 0.7 a month is what we're looking at. And then we look at the average price. So as we can see here, we've had significant appreciation pretty much since 2000. I mean, pretty much since 2009. I mean, it's just come up since then. So this is your average price being 200,000. So you're right around that average point. Now, ideally, the average would be here and your home would be selling for here, because then that's the case. So you can't see what my finger. So here, this is where the house would, this is what the average market would be. This is where your house would be. And the reason is because you want the average pulling your home up. You don't want the average pulling your home down. So, but we're close enough to play ball here. We're close enough where the average is going to end up benefiting. So here is your specific home, okay? Looks great. Here's let's go to switching screens here. So your specific home, if we take a look at Portage School District. Now the reason I'm using Portage School District is because typically that's a pretty strong criteria for when people want to move to Portage. They usually don't say I want to be close to the mall. They don't care usually about that. So, but they do care, families do care about schools. So we're going to use school district as going to be our pool. We're going to use non-waterfront, and we're any price point, we're looking at 102 homes currently for sale. We're going to change that so that we can take a look at your competition. It's very important. We're not looking for comparables, we're looking for competition. Because there's a lot of demand and few options, your house is going to be more desirable. And that's the kind of environment we want to be in. So we'll just say 260. It's going to be our high end, and we'll say 230 is going to be the low end. All right, so on the market total from 102 non-waterfront or 107, we're down to 7 options. Let's take a look at what's sold. 98. So we're looking at 9 a month, 7. I mean, the absorption right here is 4 days. As long as people know about your house, it looks like, in all reasonable certainty, your home's going to sell. Now, there's pretty new. This one's kind of comparable to yours. Well, yours is 2-story. I mean, it doesn't look bad. And then we got this one and this one. So, I mean, we're close. I mean, realistically, there's not a lot of options here. So there's no reason why you couldn't sell your house, in my opinion, for what you want to. So the question is what can I add? If the market's so favorable to you, what is it that I can do for you? Well, there's quite a bit, actually. So one of them is we can simplify the process, and the other one is we can get you more money than what you were able to get on your own. How is that possible? So if you want to take a look at it, you can really break down a sale into probably 7 parts. Okay, one of them is understanding the area or expert advice. The law of differentiation, we try to differentiate the features that are important potentially to buyers, and we basically make it look different or more appealing than any other house on the market. We expose your house to every single area on the market. We cooperate with influencers in the area. So this would also include other brokerages, relocation departments, that sort of thing. Acquisition, we actually get the buyers and we acquiesce them. We bring them to us so that we have the greatest level of control, and then we send them to your place. So we negotiate offers in your favor, so at the highest possible sales price and with the best possible terms for you. And then we execute the sale because there's 45 days in between every transaction. Now, 45 days that we're talking about, another phone call. That 45 days, there's a lot of variables in there, okay? And so what we want to do when we want to present your house to a buyer is, one, we want professional photography, high-grade professional photos. It's the first and best shot you're going to have at getting attraction, getting people to want to move to your house. The next thing we're going to end up doing is creating an emotional appeal for people to be able to purchase the home. And one of the ways we do that is actually by getting testimonials from your neighbors. Okay, we get testimonials from your neighbors, because when a buyer goes to look at a house, they have 1,000 questions. And one of them is, what's the neighborhood like? Well, we can tell you whatever they want. They're not going to believe me. They're not going to believe you, the one who has selling the house, but they'll probably believe your neighbors. So we get testimonials from them. Okay, and we give them a pamphlet like this that they can look at themselves. And this is also going to be available online. Anything else we can do to build trust? Because every single buyer that says, I don't know, that's actually a no. How do we get them to say, I know? How do we move them from I don't know to yes? That's the question. The other thing we do is we go through what's called the certified pre-owned owned home process. So in other words, if you have imagine you have 2 cars in front of you, you're going to pick one of them to buy. Same year, same make, same model, same amount of mileage, same color. Which, it doesn't matter which one you pick at that point. Well, let's say one of them, same price. We'll say one of them has a certified pre-owned car. All the maintenance records, it's been looked at by a professional, it's had a 10-point or 100-point inspection on it, and it comes with a warranty. Which one out of those 2 cars are you more likely to pay full price for? Probably the one with the warranties. So we can do the exact same thing with your house. We can get it a home warranty, which you don't even pay for until the house closes. So that would be one benefit. The other thing we can do is we can do all the pre-inspections in advance so that when a buyer decides to actually purchase your home, they try to sign the dotted line, they're going to commit to buying your house, they know exactly what they're saying yes to. And then we can negotiate from that point any repairs they want to be done in advance prior to you saying yes. So one of the most frustrating things for a seller on the planet is to have a house, it sells, right? Someone writes a purchase agreement, it's pending, it's been pending for a month and a half, and then the buyer backs it out the last minute. And that we can 100% avoid that if we do the right things in the right order. So anyway, that's a little bit of the plan. Love to talk to you more. I know this was a long video, so I appreciate you listening until the end. And let me figure out how to shut this down, and I'll send this to you. So anyway, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.